Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're at. And my name's Don Gertz, and I'm with my friend Greg DeMarco. And welcome to Beyond the Pitch. This is a podcast where we explore sales strategies that go beyond your traditional pitch. Every salesperson has a pitch, but we want to go beyond that. We want to talk about other different types of things. So, how you doing today, Greg?
I am wonderful today, Don. It's been a great week. It's been a little cool and then it got warm again, but other than that, it's sunny out, so I'm a happy guy. I don't care how cold it is, put it that way.
You're in Ontario there, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're supposed to have a good day here as well. We've had a pretty good week. It's cooler, but it's nice to have it out in British Columbia. But we don't get the rough winters that you guys can get over there. So
Well,
we're all good.
I'm in southern Ontario and it doesn't get cold and well, it gets cold, but not like minus 20, 30, or 40 like it does in the north. So
You don't have that lake effect happening around your area there.
we're right sort of in between lakes here, like the Great Lakes. The thing is it's just a band that seems to go around us for some reason.
Hmm.
So everybody north of us gets a lot of snow, like Muskoka, 2 hours north here. They got pelted with 6 to 8 feet. That's where I'm from.
6 to 8 feet of snow.
The transport trucks and cars were just abandoned on the highway, like rows of them, and they
Oh,
just abandoned them. And that's how much snow that they had coming down. So, yeah, I'm not there. So, that's good.
wow, that's crazy.
Mhm.
Today we want to talk a little bit about using AI in business. And that's the hot topic of the day, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, because there's so mu I mean, listen, this has been going on for a year, and there's so much talk surrounding it, and there's some great things about it, and, some people have concerns, but I think generally speaking, it's really helped out in a lot of different ways. I just think that we need to look at it realistically, but, it's here to stay for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, what we're going to do today is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show a little bit of a workflow that you can use. I mean, I think the scenario we're going to use is one that we're developing an exercise plan and a diet plan for somebody that wants to be on a carnivore diet.
Yeah.
Maybe you would use this if you were a health professional or not necessarily a health professional, but a health coach, or maybe you just would want to do something like this for yourself. So I'm going to just share my screen and I'm going to use a couple different programs. I'm going to use Microsoft Copilot, which is an AI program. I'm going to use a new program from Google called Notebook LM,
Mhm.
and we're going to go into Perplexity a little bit and maybe Claude, either Claude or Perplexity. Sometimes they get a little finicky, but we'll figure out which one we're going to use. So
Nice.
so let's
We'll do
let's
it.
go. Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to share my screen and we'll go see Microsoft first. And I'm make sure I'm on the right screen. Yeah, there we are. Excuse me. I use Copilot quite a bit these days, and what I did was I renamed my Copilot. I renamed him Edgar. So I'm going to say, "Good morning, Edgar."
Edgar. That's a good name.
I didn't want to just say, "Hey, Copilot, how you doing?" So, but anyway, he says, "Good morning. How are you doing today? Anything exciting planned for the day?" So rather than you guys watch me try to type out, excuse me, I got this little thing in my throat. Rather than me look at or what you watch me trying to type things out, I already copied it. So I just kind of cut and paste what it does. So it says, help me develop a personalized diet and exercise plan that aligns with my health goals, preferences, and lifestyle. Particularly interested in a carnivore diet and would like suggestions for meals, workout routines, and tips for maintaining motivation. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. Yeah, let's see what it does.
So there, it says, I'd be happy to help you develop the plan. Could you share more details about what you're aiming to achieve? Any dietary restrictions? Let's say no dietary restrictions. would like
Yeah, let's,
to
this is interesting.
lose weight. And
I
what
gotta
else would we like to do?
Well, lose weight and
See here.
obviously, yeah, eat healthier. Just keep it simple, but let's see what it does.
So there it gives us a diet plan. So there we have the complete diet plan, gives us a daily structure, intermittent fasting, consider using an intermittent fasting, make suggestions for breakfast, suggestions for lunch, make suggestions for
Wow.
snacks, gives us a workout routine and, all the different cardio, different things. So tips for maintaining it. So we could cut and paste that. We could copy that and we could, that's a good start, right? I
Well,
mean,
that's really impressive. That
yeah,
is
there,
because it's quickly generated the whole diet plan.
yeah. And you could look at it and there's nothing weird about it, right?
No, but I think the point you're making, I mean, we've kept it fairly simple here, but I think even you could take it a step further. And if you were more specific about your diet or if you had restrictions, I'm sure this would just, you know, generate something quickly on that as well. So it's impressive.
So I've copied that and I want to put that into a new notebook in Notebook LM. Now, Notebook LM is a very interesting program. And I think that for many of us, we won't have ever seen anything quite like this. And so I'm just going to, well, actually, let me go back a little bit. So you can add different sources and you can upload a source. The source could be a PDF file, it could be a text document, a markdown, or an audio file. You can give it a
Well,
YouTube.
Don, just a quick question. What is it? So LM Notebook, is this another AI source? It's just from
This
a
is a
different
Google
platform.
product. It's a Google
Yeah.
product. It's a platform. It's not like the programs like Copilot, Perplexity, and Claude. They're what they call a large language model. And Notebook LM kind of goes a little bit beyond that. And you'll see rather quickly what it does. But we could put a whole website in here. We could put a Google document in here. We could put Google Slides in here, or we could just put our copied text. So we took that text and we are going to copy and paste it into here. So there we've got our text and we'll just say insert. We could put in we can put into up to 50 different sources of information. So we could add more onto here. And I think what we'll do is we'll go back and ask Copilot, do you have some good websites to consider as a resource? So here it's collecting some different websites. So let's go and we'll go to this just for fun. We'll do this Primal Edge Health, and there's the resource. So Primal Edge Health. See if I can copy that. Copy link address. We'll go back to our carnivore thing, and we'll add another source, and that'll be a website, and we'll just paste that website in there.
So with Notebook LM, what is different about that than Copilot? Maybe you could explain that to us.
What it does is it takes all of the resources that I'm putting in here and then it becomes a resource for us. So we can start asking questions. So here it makes some suggested. Okay, I should back up a little bit. A couple of the different things you can do. You can, if you, depending on how, and we're just doing a small thing here, but you could
Yep.
put a whole bunch of different resources here. You could create a frequently asked questions of your information. So like you're a coach or you're a mentor. You have a bunch of different content that you've created. You could add all your content into here. You could hit this frequently asked questions, and it's going to generate just rather quickly a list of frequently asked questions. For that are specifically related to the information that's in this notebook. Does that sound
Great.
like it would be useful?
Oh, sure it would be because
Yeah.
that's huge on any website are frequently asked questions. So
Yeah. So then you can go and you can add a study guide. So if you were creating a course or wanted to create some education for somebody, like I've put whole books in here. So I put a PDF version of a book, and I can just hit this button, and it'll create a study guide. I can get a table of contents. It'll give me a briefing, so we can hit briefing doc, and it'll give us a brief of everything that we've put in there. So
Oh,
it's very
wow. That's
it
that's incredible. That is
yeah.
incredible because you know how much time that saves people? I remember doing course creation a couple of years ago, and it would take a lot of time to get it together. Now, if you have content, here's where I see the advantage right away because if you have a lot of content written, like I have tons and tons of content, I can actually plug each piece in there and it'll create a study guide.
Yeah, well, what you wanna do is you highlight each one of these that you want to focus in on, and then it will work off of that. I find that you don't wanna put too many different things in there because then it starts grabbing from different places. Because it's this is still brand new. This came out, I think this was released. It's been in beta for several months, but it was released in October, I think, at the beginning of October, so it's still fairly new, so they're still developing it. One of the really cool things, though, is that people don't always have time to read these days or to study. So one of the interesting things about Notebook LM is they have this part here that's called deep dive conversation. So it basically creates a podcast of two people talking, and they're AI generated. So, but
Yeah.
you'll
So
find
so you're so what you're telling me is that you and I right now aren't really here? This is
that's not
this
really
is
what
the
I'm telling you.
AI that's
Yeah, yeah, this is not AI. This is real. So we
uh,
have this. So what you can customize it, so you could say, if you had all your content, you could say, focus on developing a mindset for the typical entrepreneur or something like that. Or, but we're just going to take the content we have here and we're just going to hit generate. So we hit generate. But then what I want to do is I want to take this summary. I want to take this summary here. No, actually, what I want to do is I want to take this briefing doc and I'm going to copy this briefing doc. And we're going to go over and visit Plexity. And I'm going to paste that into, no, I'm going to tell it to create some social media. Say you're in the business of developing diets and exercise programs for people, and you want to promote your business. So I want to say, create some social media posts about, surrounding or about, how to put that, regarding or from this information. And then we'll just paste it in and we'll hit.
and now this is Perplexity that you're
This is
using?
Perplexity. Yeah.
So then now, just to keep things straight, so we had Microsoft Copilot, which you called Edgar. Then we went to Google Book
Notebook
LM,
L.
and Perplexity now is another AI tool which will allow you to do what exactly?
You can do research in here. Perplexity is very, very good for doing research. It also will do some writing. So what I did was I pasted what Notebook LM, if you recall, Notebook
Mhm.
LM gave us the briefing doc. So I
Yep.
copied the briefing doc. I went to Perplexity and I pasted that in there and I asked for some social media posts. So here it's
Nice.
created some social media posts right there. So post number one, post number two, post four, five. So all different things. So the post one is a comprehensive carnivore resources. Post number two is a sample of a carnivore diet plan. Post
Yep.
number three is a carnivore diet food list. So you can take those and just basically just copy that, go to your social media program and paste, and you have your post. And
Yep.
I mean, you want to look it over because one of the things about AI is you want to make sure that it's accurate. You want to make sure that it's correct. So
Yeah,
you
I
got
was
to make
just gonna make that point. Yeah, it's good. But here, so let's look at it this way. So let's look at applications for sales. So,
yeah.
because this is really fascinating stuff. To me, it is because I see this as a huge tool in our toolkit. So how can salespeople apply these tools in their own work?
Well, there's lots of different ways that you can do it. You could do research on topics like, so say you're I'm a realtor, I'm in real estate. So I want to let's go from here and we'll say um, I'm going to ask, let's go back to Copilot, and I'm going to say, what is the real estate? You're going to start with one question. I mean, don't just think you're going to ask one question and
Yeah.
get everything. So, you have to have, it's like having a conversation with somebody. You're interviewing them. So, what is the real estate market where are you in Ontario?
Simcoe, Ontario.
So, what is the real estate market in Simcoe, Ontario like?
I should have
So,
said
there,
Norfolk County, but that's fine. Let's see what it comes up with.
yeah. So, it basically gives you some statistics. And what it does is it gives you the different footnotes. So, it tells you where it's getting the information from. So
Oh,
you could
okay.
take that as a real estate salesperson. I can take that information and I could take that and I could say, let's take the future outlook and let's see what Copilot can do. I'm going to copy that one part there, but I'm going to say, can you write me a blog post on the future outlook? So there it's
So it
written.
so basically, this is great for marketing research. You can use content to create blog posts. I'm assuming with all that, then you can also formulate emails to clients. It's you know it's a huge tool as far as I'm concerned, and I think
Yeah.
that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think your point about the emails to clients, you could create based on, you could create a whole series of new emails, for a new client, based on the market, based on whatever you want, so first time home buyers. So we could say create a email campaign, whoops, for first time home buyers in Simcoe. So there it
Yeah.
gives you that. So I mean,
You know
that's how
what?
quick it is.
Yeah, this is incredible stuff because I think the key is though, because there has been a lot of concern regarding, the originality and, whose content are you posting. I think it's what I would say is this. From my experience, like I'm big on authenticity and origination, like being original with your stuff. I think no matter what the AI creating, you need to proofread it, make sure it's in your words and it's what you would say. This all has to come off authentically. And I think the main point here is the key is to use AI as an assistant. It's a tool to use to better your situation when it comes to interacting with your clients. It's not a replacement for your expertise or your personal touch. And I think that's really important here because I think that no matter what, you and I have talked about this so many times on this program of Beyond the Pitch, that no matter what, we have to come off authentically, ethically, morally, all those things and create trust. And I can tell you this, if there were people out there that look at it and they go, oh, but an AI generated it, you got to be different than everybody else. And you've got to come off authentically. And I think you use this as a tool. And I've told that story so many times in the past where, when email first came out, I started trying to switch to email to try and I was in the boat business and tried to use that to sell boats. Didn't work. My sales plummeted. Manager came in, shoved a phone in my face. He said, remember this, remember this is what you need to do. And what he was basically saying is you can't lose touch with your customers. And so I switched and started using the phone to try and sell instead of the email. Email was a great tool for follow-ups and saying, okay, we're just confirming our conversation today, yada, yada, yada. And that's what email was used for. But me trying to sell a boat on email was not the way to use it. So I'm just kind of using that analogy here and saying, I think we need to recognize what these tools are in our toolkit.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just like when your sales manager suggested that you want to use the phone instead of using email to contact your clients. It's sort of the same thing, I think, when the phone was invented. It was the brand new technology of the day, right?
You got it.
So
You got it.
previous to that, people would have been out there, door to door. That was the way. That was the technology, was going out there. And if you were selling something, you go out and knock on doors, or people would come to you. So the phone advent of the phone, and the idea of everybody having a phone first, because that didn't happen until quite a bit later. That was a new technology, a new tool for salespeople. And it's absolutely correct that you should consider, I think, AI as a tool that assists you. And that's one of the reasons why I named my co-pilot Edgar. I mean, I didn't want to call him my co-pilot. I mean, I mean, I guess I could have come up with a more creative name than Edgar, but I
No,
don't
that's
know.
a pretty good name. I like
I like
Edgar.
it. But let's quick go back to Notebook LM, and I want you to see that it's created this blue dot here now. So let's see if I can turn up the volume of my speakers so that you can hear it. But we'll play this and a little bit. And so what it's done is it's created a podcast based on the information that we had inputted earlier, just the website
Oh, that's cool.
and,
Yeah, I
and
want to
the
listen to
pasted
this.
text.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into something, well, a little bit different.
Different for sure.
It's the carnivore diet.
Oh yeah, that's the one that's got everybody talking.
We've got some interesting stuff to work with here.
Lay it on me.
A super detailed guide to all things carnivore. And then get this, a full personalized diet and exercise plan built around it.
Wow, sounds intense.
So we're going to break it all down. What's it all about? What could be the benefits? And we'll even look at what a day on this meat only plan could actually.
Yeah, let's unpack it. A lot of people think it's, well, I don't know, maybe simpler than it is.
Oh,
Hey,
interesting.
The
Don,
carnivore diet, if you boil it down, is all about eating out.
they sound better than we do. There's something wrong here. Oh, that is awesome. That is just
You know,
amazing, don't you think?
Yeah, well, no,
Right.
I think it's incredible. One of the things that I think about it is, so we took a bunch of information, quite a lot of information. If we actually went and looked at that website, and we never did, we don't know how much information was on that website, but it took all of that information and it created a 27-minute podcast that we could download, put it onto our phone, and go. And when we're out for our walk or jog, we could listen to it as a podcast, and we could absorb the information that way. Or if you could actually use it in your training, you could use it in your marketing. I mean, the thing is that it takes the information that you've put in there, and then it crafts it into that podcast. So it's, if it's your information, it's using your information. Now sometimes it gets it wrong. I've done some different experiments with it. My father-in-law is 96 years old, and a couple of years ago, he wrote a couple different stories about some meaningful events that happened in his life. And so I took those stories and I put them in here, and I said, create a podcast. And it created a podcast. And it's really interesting, because you listen to it and it tells the story, it relates the stories, of his life. So it doesn't, I'm not sure that I would recommend that anybody do that, because what it did was it took parts of one story and mixed them up in another story, and it didn't quite get it right, but it makes it pretty interesting. So, you can
Yeah.
experiment with it and find out what works. Not everything's going to work, but I've only just begun using this program, but I'm thinking that it has such great potential, for use in business, and for using as a training tool, as a learning tool. I mean, me, I like to learn things. So I have a number of different notebooks that I've already set up, and I'll be using it as a training tool for myself, and also I'll be using it for content creation.
Well, listen, the way I see it is that AI should be used to complement your skills, like not substitute them, but it helps to complement what you're doing. And I think it's the kind of tool, it's like fence pole stickers, they used to be the ones where you struggled to do it. Now they've got augers on a tractor. Well, why not use the auger on the tractor rather than there's sometimes it's nice to get in there and work your muscles, but hey,
Do the old
or if
fashioned.
you're on if you're on a time restraint, maybe the auger on the tractor is about better. But
Well,
I
they don't
think
even
that's
do that anymore, Greg. I don't know when the last time you're
oh,
on a
do they?
farm, but what they do is they just have those they have those fence poles with the pointy ends, and they just push them in. They just have a thing
Wow.
on the back of the tractor and just pushes
Am
it
I?
right in.
It's so what you're saying is I'm showing my age, right?
Well, yeah.
Well, either way, I think that we use these things, these tools the right way, and they'll help us out tremendously. So it's good. It's a good
I
session.
agree. Well, thanks for your contribution today, Greg. I hope this was interesting and valuable for our listeners. And if it was, maybe you like and subscribe or leave us a comment and ask a question. Maybe we can help you discover something further. So again, thank you, Greg, for your time.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Don.